All right, welcome everybody to the official beginning of what's this? Our third episode or so of Our Boat Life, where we're
Yep.
going
Hey.
to spend some time writing software and dicking around.
Yep. Regretting it. Regretting our life decisions.
And
That's
here
a
we are. Brian over
key
here in the
aspect.
bottom. We got Dan up in the top region.
The topple
And
area.
right now, we plan on using this stream to just hang out and chat and write software that we think is interesting at the time. But our first task, as usual, is to write the web page for the show that we're doing right now.
Right.
Because we are that meta. All right. So last time we talked a lot about all kinds of random things, including The Hobbit. Who knows what else?
Right. Yeah.
This time we're going to try and focus a little bit more on getting things done.
Cool.
So let's do that. So Dan's a little behind. We were, as you probably saw on the splash screen, this show was supposed to happen yesterday. So during yesterday, I messed around and made some changes just for funsies. So here we are.
Here we are.
Let's see. The main thing I was messing around with yesterday was over here on index, making I can't talk English words. Help me! No, making this more semantically close to useful. That was the idea.
Semantic utility, making it not be garbage with a bunch of divs.
Right, because we were using was it Bootstrap is what came by default with the Heroku sample Java app.
Well, I mean, the nice thing about it is it makes things look pretty nice.
It makes it look not like butts, and today it looks like butts, but is more well structured.
It's better butts. It's bigger butts.
More betterer butts. Let me see.
Definitely betterer butts.
Local. Let me just start up what I had running last. So
I'm actually going to bring it up on my own machine and see. It might be faster. Whoa, that does look like butts. Yeah.
Basically, there's zero style at all, is what happened.
Yeah. Although you did manage to get some cool disclosures going in there.
Yeah, those came for free, and of course don't work on the internet.
Right. As was foretold in the prophecy.
Right.
Came for free. Stream, how did they come for free? How'd you get that for free?
It's the HTML5 details tag.
What? Oh, that's fantastic. See, I didn't even know about that. That's really radical.
Well, I was like, I really want this to be semantically more cool and less dumb, so I just went to the W3C page and looked at all the shiny new HTML5 DOM elements.
Well, you found a few I didn't know about. Details and summary. That's
right.
Neato.
So that
footer is cool.
That's all we've got. I also put the title in the show object, so it made sense. But yeah, so in Chrome and Firefox and Safari and every browser except Internet Explorer, you can just put in this details tag as well. And inside the details, the first element should be summary tag. Beyond that
winds up being the title of the thing.
Yeah. Beyond that, we have our show description. We have a list of the parts of the show. I'm using an iframe here, not because I wanted to, but because that's the, like, if you want to embed a YouTube stock thing, you do page. So I just did that. There is a video tag in HTML5, of course, but that's made for displaying videos you have on hard drive. You want to display an MP4.
Yeah.
You can put that up there. Whereas this is including these URLs that we're using are including, YouTube's web page, not just a video. And the web page detects browsers and formats and makes sure that the browser being used to view the page actually does video prep. So, so that's what we're using. I don't love iframes, but there it is. The way it is.
Well, it's nice, it's nice to embed YouTube like this because then, you get all the cool YouTube buttons and the sharing buttons and all that garbage. Where if we just uploaded the video, first of all, our hosting fees would go up.
Yeah, way up.
And, we wouldn't get any of that free share this bullshit type stuff. How would you tweet it? I mean, how? How would you tweet that? And there's just no way to do that.
Inquiring minds want to know. All right, so this is super ugly. I just put in, of course, fake text to make a long paragraph here. For description, we've got the date, which is always today's date. Title of the show. Put in a few YouTube video parts, which are the real videos for last week, which you can watch all of our technical difficulties and listen to like 40% of the show without actually hearing anybody. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty fantastic. And then I just threw tags on the bottom, like threw them on there, because then I felt better because we used every part of the UI model.
Right. None of it was wasted.
None of it was wasted. So up over here, hopefully you can see in FluBits what I'm highlighting. Can you see highlights?
I can, yeah.
Cool. So anyway, so I'm up here. I'm just saying if this is the first automatically expand the most recent show. And the rest are collapsed.
Damn, that's fancy.
That's it. So
that's awesome.
Now I don't know how screen readers deal with this. So one of my arguments last week was that may have not even been heard, but last week we talked about accessibility and how to not be a dick on the internet with your webpage.
Yeah. So what we don't know, I guess, is how blind people will handle details and summary.
Yeah, it depends. It's going to depend on their specific screen reader, unfortunately.
You got to corner the blind guy at your job and be like, dude, you got to look at our site and tell us.
Okay, we got to make it look less dumb, though, first.
You're so right about that.
Look and sound less dumb.
What? Well, it's still going to be us. There's a limit to how much better we can make.
And one thing you can do is you can turn on VoiceOver on your computer. VoiceOver comes stock and have it read the page. It's hard to use, though. I mean, everyone who uses these screen readers takes classes to learn how to use them.
VoiceOver. Yeah, I'll try that.
VoiceOver should come on it. It should come on your iPhone too. Both. Although on your iPhone, I mean, you'll turn it on, it'll start reading things, and then it'll take you forever to figure out how to turn it off so you can turn it on again. Because touching the screen no longer activates.
I'll have to check that out, but I don't want to do that right now and subvert the whole show with me going, oh, that's cool.
It is interesting. One of the things is there's a lot of navigation built in, and sometimes I forget what to do to make it just start reading the thing instead of navigating between elements. I haven't used it enough. Anyway, this is a long way of saying this is one of the arguments I made against using Bootstrap, where doing everything in Bootstrap, most things were divs, just divs and divs and divs. And not having any structure on the page that made any sense makes it very difficult to navigate for someone using it.
Mm-hmm.
So we have it, organized a little better now. And we have H1s, H1s and H2s. A lot of sites, screen readers, and blind people or anyone that uses a screen reader for any reason use these H1, H2 headings to sort of just navigate and skip big chunks of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very convenient to have those listed out in some sort of sense of pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so this is the structure I came up with. It looks pretty lean to me. I like it. I mean, potentially, if we styled this could be all the HTML on our page.
Yeah.
This one 28-line file,
Yeah, making it look good will be non-trivial, but
right.
But we could do it. I don't know.
All right.
I'm playing with borders and stuff right now, and I'm like, oh, I could put a border around that. That's neat.
Mm-hmm. The other thing we're talking about is hot loading resources and why things weren't automatically compiling or automatically reloading the FTLs. And yesterday I realized it's pretty obvious, I think, is because when we're running through Heroku, we're compiling a jar and running the jar. So changing files outside of that jar file are the thing. Right? I mean, why would it?
Well,
we're running off the jar file.
Yeah.
So
when you put it like that, I mean, it sounds sensible and all.
I couldn't figure out how to make it run just off of the local files and not load a WAR file. I'm not, you know what I mean? Just run off the local disk. Don't run a jar file or a WAR file. Luckily, it starts up real fast.
Right. That'll be our consolation prize for right now, till we figure that out.
Right. And the second thing, like a lot of the styling, if we wanted to style things, I would just add some classes where we think we need classes, and then I would just, do the initial styling in Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
Just to at least some of the fixing instead of, just to play with it. All right.
Well, that's what I'm doing right now, actually, is just screwing around with it inside the inspector.
Yeah.
I normally use Firefox or Safari, not for any profound ideological reasons. Well, actually, I guess I do use Firefox for ideological reasons because it kind of often isn't cutting edge, but it is freer than the others. But Safari does drain the battery a lot less on my Mac. So yeah, I'm not in love with that fact. I kind of resent that fact, actually.
All right. So
I found out about Borderradius, and I'm like, oh, I can totally
Oh yeah, you can round it all up real easy nowadays.
Yeah,
this stuff is real easy.
Right.
Used to be you had to layer freaking background images.
Yeah, you would have to do 4 different background images, and you'd have to create many different divs because you could kind of cheat and do a colon pre, or was it colon before, colon after?
Right.
But that only gets you 2 of them, and you need 4 of them. So it was really gross. And now you do Borderradius 4px, and it just looks good.
And you're done.
And then box shadow is awesome. Shadow.
All right.
Anyway,
the other thing I did in episode, just in case you look at it later, on the UI model, I changed the date to a string because that's all we really want on the UI side. But the builder can take a zoned date time formatted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it takes the zoned date time in here, and then anyway.
I'm totally not, but I believe you.
Anyway, in the builder method, I'm using the zoned date time format, ISO local date. Shenanigans there. Anyway, so let's move on, man. We got a couple things. We can collaboratively stick with the CSS.
Mm-hmm.
We can start thinking about where we're going to store data and get real data from instead of this mocked data in the main method. Or we can split it up and we can each do one of each.
Well, I think to have a coherent show, we should probably do the same thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, the database thing is probably going to be less fraught for the two of us. I don't know. What do you think?
It doesn't matter to me. I mean, I've already got it looking ugly. I've got the structure down, making it look better. One thing I don't know, and maybe this is just browser dependent, is these little triangles, these little shenanigans over on the details expand and collapse. Like, can we style that?
I don't know. Styling details.
There's like
HTML5doctor.com. I don't know. I'm like, I would, but I get surprised.
Well, like you can style the list bullets, list item bullets, numbers. You can style those.
Yeah.
So
styling.
I would like that to not be there.
There's the disclosure widget in WebKit can be styled by accessing the : -webkit details marker. That's interesting. So I guess you can. I feel like that's not standard yet.
Right. That's
although this might be. This article is really old, so maybe there's a newer one.
And that's one thing is that I hate about the internet, to be honest, is people not putting dates on.
Yeah, well, Google does, though. Google will tell you. If it weren't for that, I would have no idea most of the time because nobody ever writes anything down.
Like, it is extremely important. Internet, I'm telling you, internet. If you write something on the internet, date stamp it and display that date. Because chances are next week, whatever you just said is going to be wrong. And you owe it to everybody else that they know.
So, I'm not seeing other ways of getting at the details marker, which is sad. Well, let's look at the standard, shall we? Where's the standard? Document not found. Good. Thanks, W3C. That's good.
All right.
Anyway, why don't you fill in for a little bit on databases while I look this shit up?
Really? All right.
You don't want me to look it up?
Damn, sorry. That was the mute button on my headset. So that's on video.
Yep.
No, that's fine. So part of the thing about working with the database, all right, we get a Postgres instance, part of our Heroku.
Yeah.
So we could throw all this and make a whole data access layer into a database. I've already forgotten the sort of data access, or what is it called? ORM package that Dan had suggested way back in the day in our first episode. But
yeah,
that's certainly an option. We could build all that out. We can use that to access a database of stuff. But our other option could potentially be something a lot simpler. I mean, we could read our data out of just a straight JSON file.
Yeah.
GitHub repository.
I'm kind of inclined towards that, to be honest, because, I mean, we could update it each week. I mean, that would suck, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. We could do that a few times.
Well, okay, so our alternative though is to, update the JSON file once a week, using whatever text editor you love most, using IntelliJ, using whatever else, right? Or write another application to update the database with entries, right? Either we can use a text editor and just do it, or we could write another application, or we could like manually run SQL to insert shit into the table, which we could do with Liquibase. Remember, are you still using that? Was that what it's called?
Yeah.
We could do it with Liquibase scripts.
In fact, I've gotten kinkier with Liquibase.
I liked it quite a bit. If we use Liquibase, that might not be a bad way to run a script and update data in the database, be able to roll back and forward. So for anyone who doesn't know, Liquibase is a sort of database schema versioning package in a way. And what it allows you to do is define database manipulation queries in XML. And save that XML right next to your source code in the repository using.
They also now support other file formats than XML.
Right. Been 5 or 6 years since I've used it. So what this allows you to do, though, is you can specify that you are going to increment the database version to the next schema version. You can keep a version record, just so you know what version you're on. And then you can specify all the SQL types of manipulations, creating tables, deleting tables, moving data, whatever, that it will take to upgrade the previous version of the database to the new version, the new schema. And then you can specify for those some actions are automatically able to roll back, others are not. But then you can specify exactly what you need to do to roll back that change, roll back from database. And all of that is kept submitted in your source code repository. So anybody who checks out the code can just check out the code, compile it, run the Liquibase command to update their local dev database to C and keep on plugging away. And if they're back, whatever. And then you get to a release point and you can launch it and upgrade the production database or test deployments, whatever.
So that's that's something that we've gotten more perverted with. Like now when you deploy the apps, it automatically runs the Liquibase migrations. So, right before it sticks the WAR file in Tomcat, it actually will make sure the database is up to date and do those actions.
Yeah.
And I have another system where there's like a servlet context listener that runs Liquibase. So when the act of deploying the WAR file causes it to run the migrations. I don't know if I'm in love with that yet. It seems a little bit risky, but for a small app, I thought it might be kind of fun to try.
And the main thing that I got out of the course was you knew exactly what version of the schema your database was running at any given time. You knew how to go forward or backwards automatically, regardless.
Yeah. Well, and having the code that depends on the database being in a certain state together with code that makes the database get into that state is fantastic.
Right. So the way we could utilize it here is not to like change or not always change the database schema of the database, but to just
Insert the
insert
episode.
data, insert the new records for last week's show, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then that will all be under automate.
That's a cool idea. Do you want to try that?
Now the secondary thing there, running through things, we could do that. That would require us running Postgres on new development, and developing a database schema or work.
Are you not running Postgres locally? How do you get things done? Don't you have data? You're not sticking your data in files, are you? I mean,
you plebeian.
Right.
Century are you from? Are you using a pencil too?
Right. Yeah. No, you got to have Postgres. You got to have Postgres local. Well, I mean, the other thing you could do, I mean, this is one of those food for thought things that you're getting kind of sick of me sending us down during our podcast. There's this thing that I like called Vagrant. I don't know if I've ever shown it to you, Brian. Are you familiar with
Eric?
Vagrant?
Eric?
Oh, God, you're making a joke. Funny, and I saw him last night too. Everybody say hi to Eric. Yeah. He actually listens to this podcast, you know. We should make a point of being nice to him. Otherwise, people will find out we're assholes. Right. Vagrant. So Vagrant is this virtual machine builder thing. You kind of tell it what you want in your virtual machine, and it runs out and it makes sure that you have a virtual machine running that OS, and then it will run a certain set of setup scripts, provisioning they call it, provisioning scripts, to like get it set up. And it runs headlessly, but there's syntax in the config file for forwarding ports. So it's a kind of a convenient way of making sure that two people running different OSs have a shared development platform that is, you know, the same for both of them or all of them. It's something we're looking into at the NRAO for like testing the archive, because to actually deploy the new archive involves setting up like 4 or 5 different servers and running quite a few applications on them. And we're trying to build a testing suite around Vagrant. Archive in a box is what we're calling it. But anyway, so, you know, Vagrant's a nice way to, you know, if figuring out how to get Postgres installed on your machine sounds onerous, that's another approach.
All right. So let's get on to writing some codes.
All right. Let's write some code.
So one option, we can do Postgres, and we can run, and we can do database, liquid-based stuff, make all this happen, right? Our second option,
yeah, JSON.
Our second option is just put it in a JSON file, and then write JavaScript to access and build the page. Because, you know, there.
Right.
I don't know which one's actually easier, because writing JavaScript also implies that we sort of probably want an FTL or use a JavaScript templating like handle.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We don't have to. Like, I'm taking this vanilla JavaScript in 30 days thing because I want to learn more about, you know, my new JavaScripty overlords. And, you know, I'm not sure you need that stuff, but I don't know.
I mean, you can do it. You can, of course, do it all
We could do that in the back end too. We could have the file sitting there, and then in the back end it could fetch it from itself, kind of, and then parse it in Java.
Find it on the class path, the class path.
The class path. Yes, we could do that.
Use something like the JSON or Jackson.
I've actually used both of those in the last week, and yeah, I don't know. They both suck, just in different ways. You know, Jackson is one of the newfangled. You know, you annotate everything and then it figures it out from there. And JSON is a lot more. You don't really configure it, but it just tries to do something rational by default. And if you don't like what it does, then well, that's too bad.
And in this case, we wouldn't have to care, right? We have our episode and show model objects, and we don't care what the JSON looks like. We could just have JSON tell us what it's going to make, and then
yeah,
you know, we don't have to.
Yeah, we could do that.
We don't have any preconceived notion.
Well, you want to just do that and just see what happens?
Sure.
So why don't we just make a new route and use JSON to pull it out and spit out what you've already built manually, in other words. I'm going to add a new dependency here for JSON.
All right. So one thing we're going to need.
That'll work. So I've added it to the POM. And then we need a route. So why don't we just do that? Get, hey, come back, Johnny. All right. Let's see here. I'm just sort of playing around here. And,
1 to 8.
yeah. All right. So let's make this happen in like a constant or a class, like a variable. What do you call that?
A field.
Yeah. Let's
or even
right. So there's got to be a.
Well, all right. If we're going to do this a little better, because we could use this in different in our in a testing suite we should have also. Right, we could put this whole list of episodes, this show building. We can move that into somewhere else. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. We're gonna need a class somewhere that's gonna fetch this real data and build it, and we can make a subclass of that or implement the same interface that just returns this stub data, and then you don't have two implementations, right?
Yeah.
And then one path will use the stub and the other.
All right. Yeah, that sounds good to me.
So the question is, where does it go?
I'm really not all that worried about it. So wherever sounds good to you is fine.
Now, one thing I can't always remember. If I want to create a Java package that is, all right, so I'm over here looking at com SourBoat Life UI models. If I want com SourBoat Life dot not UI model.
Oh, well,
right?
I just make a new package and at the Java level, and I just
name the whole thing.
Yeah, that's what I do.
And this is kind of like our data access, basically, right? Some of it's stubbed and some